Hey everyone, good morning. It's Aspen Connor, and I am back in Warren County in Bowling Green, Kentucky. I am outside of the courthouse for the trial of Brooks Houck, which is underway. And the defense is set to begin their case this morning. If you're new to the channel, I would appreciate it if you would like and subscribe. It would help me out a lot. And if you are returning, then welcome back. You know, I appreciate each and every one of you so much from the bottom of my heart. So, as I head into court this morning, I just thought that I would give a quick few thoughts on where I think things stand right now as far as whether or not the prosecution has proved their case now that they've rested, and before the defense mounts their defense. I just thought I'd do a really quick, brief overview. And so here are just a few of the key moments and evidence highlighted by the prosecution in the Brooks Houck's accounts of where he was on July 3rd, 2015. For anyone that doesn't know, July 3rd, 2015 is the day that Crystal Rogers was last seen in Bardstown, Kentucky. She has never been seen since. It is almost a decade, and her family has gone without justice for this long, and we are praying that finally they can receive justice. As far as the prosecutor goes, I think he's done an excellent job. He, right off the bat, said this was a circumstantial case, and that he's highlighted the inconsistencies in Houck's statements to the police. The prosecution focused on the contradictions in his accounts on his whereabouts that day. We recently learned cadaver dogs alerted in Houck's grandmother and a Whiteside's car. A trained cadaver dog alerted to the scent of human remains in a white Buick LeSabre previously owned by Houck's grandmother. This car was spotted in the woods near the Houck family farm on the evening of July 3rd by some raccoon hunters that were on a nearby property. This testimony was actually, I think, what the judge considered to be proof of death, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Houck's and his brother attempted to sell the car. Surveillance video shows Brooks' brother, Nick Houck, who was at one time a Bardstown police officer, since fired disgracefully, and named an unindicted co-conspirator, along with his Brooks' mother, Rosemary. A salesperson found their behavior very, very unusual, as they wanted to trade the car without inspection. Witness testimony about conversations regarding harming Crystal included one witness who claimed to have overheard Joseph Lawson, who is also on trial, along with Brooks Houck. Brooks Houck is the only one charged with murder, but Joseph Lawson is charged with accessory, essentially. But one witness claimed to have overheard Joseph Lawson saying he would bury Rogers' car with a skid steer so no one would find it. Another witness testified that Brooks' mother, Rosemary Houck, Mother of the Year, asked him how she could get rid of Crystal. And it's, since day one of the trial, been mentioned many, many times about Nick, Brooks' brother, and his mother, Rosemary, being unindicted co-conspirators. Why they haven't been charged, I don't know. Will they be? Time will tell. But apparently she never liked Crystal. Even as far as the fact that Crystal apparently at one point had pink hair, and she didn't think that was a good fit for her son. Anyway, another witness testified, Charlie Girdley, which is a former employee of Houck's, testified that Steve Lawson, which was Joseph's father, who was previously convicted, told him that Brooks Houck wanted to get rid of his old lady. Houck's behavior after Rogers' disappearance was also troubling. While ignoring calls and texts from Crystal's family, Brooks Houck did try to contact her 2 days after she disappeared, with a text message expressing concern and 2 calls the morning after. But again, during the interrogation with detectives, he basically cast blame on Crystal, saying she was wild and partied and he didn't think anything of it. Prosecutors pointed out the red flags of Houck bringing a prepared statement to his interrogation and recording his conversations with police, suggesting a desire to control the narrative. As I said earlier, the prosecution has been forthright from the get-go that this is a circumstantial case. Crystal's body has never been found. The prosecution acknowledged that a significant part of the case is circumstantial, as Crystal's body has never been found. However, they argued that the collective evidence, including Houck's contradicted statements and the cadaver dog alert, provided sufficient proof to continue with trial. Even as recently as this Monday, some shocking statements came out, including one of Houck's former employees testifying that Joseph Lawson told him he would pull out Rogers' teeth and would let the hogs do the rest. We also heard an ex-girlfriend of Stephen Lawson, who overheard Stephen and Joseph Lawson in 2022 about moving a body with a skid steer. I apologize. Joey Lawson's grandmother's and then Steve Lawson's mother also testified that Joey told her in 2022 that she needed to know that Stephen killed Crystal Rogers. But they were known to speak ill of each other and to try to hurt each other on a routine basis. Joseph Lawson's stepmom also testified that in 2019, she overheard a fight that turned physical between Stephen and Joey, where Joey repeated the words, "You keep going. I'll let everyone know about the car and your involvement." The defense has also done a good job as far as fighting back on all of these allegations. It honestly has been a very interesting back and forth to watch. All the attorneys that I've seen have been very competent. I would give a slight advantage to the prosecutor. But the defense attorneys have done a good job. The defense points to the lack of physical evidence. The defense argued that the absence of a body, the crime scene, or murder weapon weakens the prosecution's case. They questioned witnesses' credibility. The defense challenged the testimony of witnesses like Charlie Gertie, highlighting inconsistencies in his previous statements. They also questioned the cadaver dog handler's testimony, pointing out the lack of the documented training and the dog's dual training, suggesting it might be prone to error. Allegations of police coercion. The defense claimed that the investigators pressured witnesses to give statements that would support their case against Houck, potentially leading to false statements. And in an almost automatic and routine move, once the prosecution rested yesterday, the defense for both attorneys, for both defendants, filed motions asking Judge Sims to give a verdict in the case rather than go to the jury for deliberations because they said the prosecution failed to present enough evidence. This happens at every trial. Houck's attorney, Brian Butler, cited a prior legal precedent, Phillips v. Commonwealth, where it was a no-body homicide and prosecutors used circumstantial evidence to get a confession of murder. Another case he cited was one where there was a body, the suspect had blood in their home, but they couldn't prove the manner of death. It is clear you have to have one of the three things: a body, a crime scene, or a confession, Butler argued. None of these exist in this case. Prosecutor Shane Young argued that everything Brooks Houck said in his police statements was a lie. Shane Young went on to say, "Judge, we do have a witness, and he's sitting right here," pointing to Brooks Houck. None of that is evidence Brooks Houck confessed, Butler argued. Judge Sims said there is certainly proof of death in this case. The court believes it would be reasonable for a jury to find that Miss Rogers is deceased in this case. And I think that even though everyone knew this, it devastated the people in the audience yesterday. I mean, the family was literally some of them had their head down in their hands weeping. It's been very difficult to watch. Lawson's attorney, Kevin Coleman, argued that there was still confusion as to the conspiracy charge and argued that some of the recent statements about Steve and Joseph Lawson were confusing. Despite the defense's argument, Judge Sims denied the motion for a directed verdict, allowing the case to proceed to the jury. He stated there was sufficient evidence to infer that Crystal Rogers' death that Crystal Rogers' death lost my place, I apologize, did occur, and that Houck was not truthful in his statement. He specifically cited the cadaver dog alert as proof of death in the case. These are some of the critical moments and pieces of evidence presented by the prosecution in the Brooks Houck and Joey Lawson trial, aimed at establishing their involvement in the Crystal Rogers disappearance. Now, while it is important to note that as the defense mounts its case and the case is ongoing, ultimately it is up to the jury to decide. Questions that I have: did the Commonwealth prove their case? Admittedly, they said that everything was circumstantial. And so it really is a matter of what the jury decides to take as important and what they choose not to. With so much emphasis put on Rosemary and Nick, I just have asked myself, why have they not been charged? And if I'm on the jury, I'd have those questions too. With as difficult as it is, I wasn't in trial yesterday or Monday, but from what I've seen of Crystal's family and how emotionally taxing this has been on them, I can't imagine the weight and gravity the Crystal's family and loved ones must be feeling with the trial now in the hands of the defense. It was hard enough when it was the prosecution's case, so I can only imagine they are in for a lot of pain when it comes to hearing things they don't want to hear, or just outright lies about Crystal and about their family. Brooks Houck plays dirty, in my opinion, and I just think he's scum. But then again, innocent until proven guilty. My heart breaks for Crystal and her family, her children. And I don't think there's anyone with a pulse out there that can not have empathy for Sherry Ballard, who has gone through unimaginable pain and suffering, but whose strength gives me so much hope, and I admire her so much, because it takes an incredibly strong person to endure and to hold it together and to continue to fight for justice for their loved ones. And Sherry Ballard has never relented on that. All I can hope is that Crystal receives justice and that this family can somehow find a way to open a new chapter and begin their healing process in a way that has some more resolution or answer than it did before. I am heading into court right now. I'm, of course, late. But if I can, I will update you guys at lunch as far as the defense and what they have planned. But other than that, I will do a recap this evening on live, and I hope that everyone has a wonderful day. And again, sorry I'm in the car, but I can't bring all my stuff in, so I needed to record it before I went in. But anyway, I will update you guys either at lunch or after court this afternoon. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day. And again, please pray for Crystal's family and for justice for Crystal.